Hello guys, this is Hussein again. So in this video, I'm gonna show you one strategy of how you can be able to integrate the NIM to your own project. Yeah. So initially, I just want to show you that I'm gonna show two models to work with. Okay. Initially, where is GPT OSS? Let me show you GPT OSS. It's 20 billion. Yeah, it's okay lah. No problem at all. Here you can be able to see for the sake of simplicity and for the minimize the time. I already generated the API key. You guys, if you don't know how to generate the API key, just follow back my previous video, or you can simply just sign in from here and can be able to generate over here. It's okay. It's very free. No need to pay for anything. Okay. So they already give a snippet, code snippet, but today I'm gonna go or I'm gonna show you one way of how to integrate multi-model approach. This is a single model, right? The GPT OS is 20 billion. So how you can be able to integrate multi-model in your own application? That's the thing. Very easy, very simple. Because the environment is Nvidia, you just have to change the model name. So think about like this. Think about like this. Wait, TL draw. I'm going to open a new TL draw. Can I open a new TL draw? Okay, not it. I just have to. I just show it here. Okay. Since the basic configuration, this is the basic configuration, right? Configuration. This basic configuration is same for all the model. For all the model. So what do you need to do? In the basic configuration, you are going to put the model name, then the temperature, then the stop, start, chunk, those kind of things. You are going to put it into the basic configuration. So this type of model, you don't have to put it here. The very good approaches or the flexible approaches basically put an object of the model of models. Then you know, okay. Then you just have to. I'm not sure if I can do this. Yeah. Just loop it. Loop it. Oh, yeah, you just have to loop it. So, object of models, this will contain how many things? Model, temperature, can contain temperature, can contain model. Let's say ChatGPT can be able to give you an answer with a zero point 0.7 temperature, and it's very static and very rigid. But other model might have to, you need to tweak the temperature like zero point 0.6 or zero point 0.5, something like that. So you can be able to put the basic configuration here, then here object of the models here. Then you can simply just get the model information from here, put it into the API call, and can be able to get the response. So today we are going to follow this approach, like how we can be able to add multiple model in one single code, one single project. Okay, fine. So here, what do you need is basically just one single dependency, .env. Why you need .env? The thing is basically because we're not going to, you know, leak your API key. You're not going to expose your API key, right? Also, you're not going to expose your base URL, right? All the time Nvidia NIM base URL is not going to work here. Sometimes it can happen that the base URL is of DeepSeek, the base URL is of some other models. So you need to change it immediately. In the later update, those are closed models, so those models doesn't require any update. But in later part, in your own production level, when there is a busy model, and then later you are going to use vertex AI, or you need to, you need to deploy your own model to your cloud run. Then you are going to update the base URL. So you need to update your base URL everywhere if you already define here. But the easier approach is, you go here, simply just take one variable, you just change it here, and all the changes will be reflected to your project. So it's a better approach. Now, what did I do? Initially, we have models. This type of model has some information. Like I take two models, GPT OSS and Phi 3. Phi 3 is a model of Microsoft actually. Okay. Now, first of all is that we do a function test model. I'm not going to say the test model at the very first. I'm going to say you how we call the model. There is the demo all models. This is the actual function. So if I go to tail draw, our main function, this is the function name. This is the demo all models. This is the actual model which we are going to call. So demo all models. What do we mean demo all models do? Demo all models basically get all the model. This is a for loop. You see, get all the model from the object that we defined earlier. You see, this is the model object. We're going to get all the model from here. Okay. So here you can see that we are going to get all the model from the object. This is basically the same loop. This demo all model is going to produce the same loop. You see. Okay. Then after taking the loop, after taking the demo all models loop, what should we do? We need to call the API, right? Using that model information. So to call the API using the model information, we construct another function which is test model. So now you know, right? The demo all model was there. Here we are going to define it as test model. So demo all model is going to call the test model. So here when we call the test model, there are certain things that has happened, which is that you see this is a base URL. Because before I already told you about base URL has an endpoint which is chat/chat/slash completion. So when you post a request into this URL, of course you need to pass some information with the API. Other than that, you will definitely going to get a course zero. Course zero for what? Course zero because CORS actually, course origin, because the API is expecting something, like expecting some headers, expecting some body payloads, but you are calling the API without any headers and without any body. That means that there is a mismatch about the parameters. When there is a mismatch about the parameters, definitely you are going to get a course. This is one reason why you are getting the course zero. So here in the headers for the security, we are going to pass an authorization token, which is BRR API key. API key, you already saw my API key. This is because this is here, right? We're going to pass it with the API. And content type is application JSON, that we are expecting the model to give us the JSON. Not the model actually. This API should produce an application slash JSON format actually. Okay. Then we are passing some information with the body as in stringify. So there are some information like model, message is basically your prompt, max token, how many token you are going to use, temperature and stream. So if let's say your test model here, what type of information are already defined? The defined is basically the max token is defined, temperature is defined, streaming is defined. Some model does have streaming, some model might not have streaming, like some model which is very much low type models, you can be able to find it to Hugging Face. Those models might not have all the information that the big LLM model has. So here, instead of doing this, you can be able to do something like this. Let's say uh, you make another object, but you just do an array. Simple. So you, what do you need to do is basically, let's say you are talking about GPT, right? So you're talking about GPT, so you need to pass the model name. Yeah, let's say GPT OSS 20B, something like this. Then you also need to uh, define the temperature. 0.7. Oh, yeah, like this. Okay. So you can be able to see that there. This is an array. Inside an array, each object is going to represent the model name and the temperature. So now you don't really need to define the temperature here. You can simply just take the temperature from here. It's pretty easy, right? Yeah, like this. Okay. So now by this you can be able to make this whole thing very dynamic. Okay. So let's proceed with the previous format. Okay, here. So now this is the key and this is the value, right? Okay. So from the demo all model, you're going to get the model key. Put it into the test model, the model key. Then inside the test model, you are going to get the model from here. You see, models. So models is our object. This is the key. So when you are referring to this is basically going to give you the value. So here is basically we put the value. Then under the message, uh, putting the our role as an user, can be able to put the role as a system, but it depends. You need to see the documentation of the model first. That what type of role it can have. Then the content. Then you also need to define the max tokens, temperature, stream. If you don't do the max token, those then the default max token will be used by the model. It is also different, for GPT OSS max token is something, for uh, 5.3 max token is something else different. Yeah, that's why. Now, if there is no response, then we are going to show one error. There is one thing I really want to ask you guys. After why streaming is true and we need to process the stream, why? You can pause and you can think about it. Okay, so the when you are enabling this streaming is true, that means that this model is going to give you a buffer chunk. Chunk as a buffer actually. So you need to process it to make it to transform it as a readable way. Without processing it to the readable way, you cannot be able to read it. So that's why we initialize a reader, which can be able to get the response body. Then we have the decoder, which is basically the text decoder. Then under the full response, this is our string, an empty string. Later, when the model is producing chunk by chunk, and we are going to populate it here by the string concatenation. String concatenation. If I'm not wrong, I am not gonna sure. This string concatenation. This is the okay. Extremely sorry for that. Yeah, string concatenation. Okay, this will happen after some time. So this is a while loop. This is an infinite loop. I never suggest you to use this type of code to your production level, because if you use this type of code for your production level, at some point it can cause a system error. And this is not a good idea to use this one. Of course, use the uh, base condition here. So we are going to destructure two things, done and value. Destructure means apa? Destructure means basically from this reader, read streaming. Yeah, from read streaming, we are going to get two things. One is whether the thing is already done, reading is already done, or whether the what is the value after the read. So then we are initializing chunk and lines. Chunk is basically after decoding the value, what is the chunk actually? What is the segment of the data? and lines is we split the chunk using the slash n. Slash n means backslash n means the new line actually. If there is a new line, we are going to split it. Hmm. So here this for loop is basically to get the lines, each lines, then we are going to see if the lines is started with data or not, because there are a lot of reasoning model out there. We are not going to show you the thinking process, right? We only want to get the data. That's why we need to get the data first. Okay, if the data is done, then we just simply just overlook the iteration, going to the next iteration. This is a base case. Now in here we see we parse the JSON, then we parse the choices. Choices of zero, of delta, of content. This is actually the same. This is how the NIM generated, NIM hosted models generated data. So whenever you are using the Phi 3, you are using the OSS, you are using the other models, you're definitely going to use this one. Parsed. Parsed is basically which is what type of data you have already parsed. Then the choices of zero. Zero index means the first index. Dot delta dot content. So you are getting the content from here. We are going to write it down, process standard output, and write, and then we are going to edit. This is the string concatenation, full response with the content. Content means what is the chunk actually. Catch error. If there is an error, we just simply can put something like console. Yeah, that there are some parsing error. Okay, then we are after the iteration we're going to return the full response from here. That's about all the all the testing. So from the main function we already call about demo all models, and that's all about it. Now I'm gonna show you how to call the API. Why this type of situation they already generated? Because they are thinking that I might be able to use it on the browser, but I don't have. So I really don't have to use those kind of codes anymore. I just simply call main, and that should do the work. In JavaScript, they will go line by line, right? Mhm. So stack by stack. So this is a function, this is a function, this is a function, which is okay. But what is here? Which function I called? That function will be called at the very first. So main I call. So it goes to interpreter will go to the main. Then main will see that I call the demo all models. So it called to the demo all models. Yeah. So under the model, it iterate all the model, but in each iteration they will simply just see that there is a test model, so they go to the test model. But here is the catch: JavaScript is a synchronous, but we make it asynchronous using await. Uh, so we tell JavaScript, hey, please get the response first from this function, then you iterate again. So this is await. That's why we use the promise of JavaScript. Well, this is the basic concept. I'm extremely sorry that I'm talking about this, but later, if you guys agree, I will also can make JavaScript series. But better option is I can be able to tell about one thing. Learn with Sumit. I prefer. Yeah, this is not sponsored or anything. I prefer if you are from Bangladesh, I can be able to watch this playlist. And Lanwit Sumit also has a how to say YouTube channel. Sumit sir is one of the best uh, how to say content creator about this. So using the tutorial of JavaScript for beginners, you see this one. This one is the JavaScript for beginners. You can watch the video. This is enough for you to know everything about the JavaScript. Okay, let's focus on this. Okay, so you already know about how to run the model. Here from here, you can be able to just click that. Call the test model. Test model will call the API. API will give you the response as a buffer. Sorry, response as a stream response. So when it's producing some streaming, can be able to apa itu can be able to decode it, add the chunk to the full responses, and return the full responses from here. That's all. Now let us run. I have talked a lot, but you guys need to run it. Yeah. So when you run it, you will get a lot of response. Yeah. So what did the response say? Initially, okay, GPT OSS 120 billion. Here, okay, you can be able to see the. I asked the model about explain quantum computing in simple terms. The model is saying that uh, computing in plain English. So they are giving me like what a classical computer does, what a quantum computer does instead, how it can be both like this. Lah. Why there are some errors, parsing errors happen because it's a reasoning model. So raw data which is coming for that thinking, there are some issues. Of course, there will be some error about parsing that thinking, right? Because that thing will have a lot of small characters. So the thing will definitely going to error. If you want to close the thinking model in Olama for R1, you can be able to close it. But for GPT OSS, you cannot be able to find because they don't have any close clause anymore. But yeah, sorry, thinking or disabling thinking. But you can be able to make the budget low for the low type reasoning. Now, so you can be able to see that the model is generating responses, right? Okay. So response completed, total hours is 449. Okay. Second response we're getting from 53, which is small model, and which is basically explaining quantum computing in simple terms. They already gave us some data, testing module. Hmm. So they also gave us some information about this. But you can be able to see over here, right? Quantum computing is a type of computing that uses mechanical phenomena such as superposition and entanglement. This thing, I think, either is zero or one, either is zero or one. This thing is a loop, I think. Yeah. So this type of scenario can happen in a small model like this. So you need to be very careful about which model you are using. That's the thing. So I have talked a lot today. My those type of situation, those type of, issues, if you face, just let me know. I will definitely going to help you. No problem. Today, I don't want to enlarge this video anymore. I just wanted to show you how you guys can be able to integrate the NIM to your own project. Yeah. So next video, I'm gonna show you the how much pipe coding you can do. That's not like a technical video, but this thing is pipe coded. I just simply prompt that well uh, make one project with the multi-model, but I changed something because pipe coding is not 100% correct. So you really need to control it, to get good responses. You see, initially there are no models like going through OHH loop and loop. Also, this thing while true is not a good approach. So this type of code can work, but it's not good for your production level. So you really need to think about it first. Okay. So next video I'm gonna talk about that. Till that time, take care. Bye.